Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. It is your boy, MadridistaFitz, home of Real Madrid's 11th best YouTube channel. We are by far the poorest channel, but we have a lot of heart, and I'm here to catch up with all this Barcelona chatter. We're going to take a little break from Real Madrid tonight, home of Real Madrid's 11th best YouTube channel, and talk about those bums, Barcelona, and the transfer madness that's been going on. I'm not going to lie, your boy has been quite sick the last week, and it all coincided with Rodri, that fucking rat bastard, turning his back on the holy, the one, the only, the Real Madrid, our beloved Real Madrid. He shit down our throats. I'm not even a fucking lie. And hats off to those Barcelona bums for swooping in on Rodri. It is crazy, and it directly aligns with when I got ill. As soon as I got ill, I was about to make a video and talk about how pissed I was, but I had snot coming out. I had a fever. I was emotionally distraught after the shit that this rat bastard did. So we'll get into that in this episode. I'm going to try not to make this one very long. I'm quite long-winded. But if you like this content, please like and subscribe. But we're going to talk about that snake Rodri, and we're going to go over more Julian Alverez drama on Real Madrid's 11th best YouTube channel. We do talk about Barcelona a lot. So if you're a Barcelona fan, consider hitting that like and subscription button as well. Hopefully we get a little more action than my last video, which got exactly 1 view. Hell yeah, baby, let's go. So here we go. Let's talk about first Rodri. Let's talk about this rat bastard. What a mea culpa. What a swoop in. This is great business for Barcelona for a 1 or 2 year period if this deal goes through, because like I said on my channel previously, about a month ago, I said I didn't want anything to do with Rodri. His performance in the World Cup really began to change my thoughts on that. He was great in the World Cup. When this guy is in form and when he's in shape and when he's not injured, he's the best defensive midfielder in the world. What can we say? That's what Barcelona will be getting, is the best defensive midfielder in the world. And I thought our transfer window was shaping up to be generational. Getting Cucurella, getting Kanate on a free, getting Bernardo Silva for free, signing Yan Diomande for a lot of money, but getting him in, getting Dumfries in, re-signing Vinicius Jr., the old Vinicius Jr., he's back in the fold. That's all good news, and I thought the missing piece was Rodri, and if we would have swung him and got him into the fold at the Bernabeu, it would have been game over. At least in La Liga, we would have wiped the deck. We would have freaking wiped Barcelona off the face of the planet. And I think for a 1 to 2 period run with Rodri tying our team, being not the engine, but being the orchestrator, being the guy in the middle of the park that was going to keep everyone cool, calm, and collected, dictating the pace of the game. I saw all the trophies lining up, even the number 16th Champions League for Real Madrid. But this fucking snake, I have no idea what this guy's motives were. He was twerking for Real Madrid for years. Every time Real Madrid was brought up, he was born in Madrid. Maybe this guy just fucking hates Real Madrid. Who the hell knows? But this guy will go down as probably one of the most hated players in the history of Real Madrid fans if he ends up in Barcelona. He already snaked his way to a Ballon d'Or over our boy Vinicius Jr., and now this motherfucker has the audacity to twerk his little Spanish butt cheeks at Real Madrid for years, only to go in the back door with those Catalonian fucks. I have no idea what the hell is going on planet Earth with this deal and how it transpired, but this rat bastard wants to play for Barcelona, and I was completely wrong. If you watch my video from a week ago, I said that all Real Madrid has to do is whisper in someone's ears. We did that with Bernardo Silva. We did that with Cucurella. We did that with Dumfries, who were all considered quote-unquote Barcelona targets. Even Cucurella was a Barcelona Academy guy. We whispered in his ear, and they all wanted Real Madrid. That's usually what happens. But this would be a major coup, a major stealing, just an absolute smack across Real Madrid's face if these Catalonian fucks pull this off, because they whispered in Rodri's ears. I don't know what type of voodoo or witchcraft Hansi Flick did, but hats off to Barcelona. And if you get Rodri, I'll go over him in 2 elements. 1 on the football side and 2 financially. On the football side, I think it would be a brilliant move for Barcelona. You're already strengthening a strength. Barcelona's midfield is one of the best midfields on planet Earth. Say what you want about their defense and the high line and all that bullshit and what they do in the Champions League. They are domestic queens. They don't do anything in the Champions League. They're pretty fucking irrelevant in the Champions League most years. 13 years running in their sorry ass history without a Champions League, but they are running circles in La Liga, and they're doing this because they have one of the best midfields on planet Earth. They already have the likes of Pedri there. They have Danny Olmo there, Frankie de Jong, who's injured. They have already a pretty well and established Kubarsi's in around. He may maybe not be a classic midfielder, but he's in the mix, in the fold. Their midfield is stacked, and now you're gonna throw Rodri in with the like of those guys. Watch out, Real Madrid. You're gonna have a very difficult time in La Liga. And I would have said, if he would have went to Real Madrid, I would have said game, set, match. Real Madrid would have taken La Liga because it was shaping up to be a generational window. But now we're going to have a fucking dogfight on our hands, and we might go trophyless 3 years in a row. So that's on the football side. The only disadvantage I could see with Barcelona is they're prioritizing a midfielder and paying a shit ton of money for a club that is buried in debt financially. Watch some of my other videos. I'm currently working on my MBA in accounting and finances, so this stuff fascinates me. Barcelona's finances are in an absolute fucking... It's a shit show. It's worse than my finances personally, and I'm poor as fuck. If you look at it, they operate on a very thin margin. They only turned about a 5 million net profit last year. It was the first time they were profitable in a long time, and that's a big thing why they were able to achieve 1-to-1 financial fair play, why they were able to achieve the 1-to-1 ratio, which means for every dollar of revenue they make, they can reinvest it in transfers. And a big reason because they became profitable. Now, headlines is that an overall package Barcelona would reportedly have to pay to get Rodri, and I'll go over this in a second, on their team is 210 million euros. That is a lot of money for a team that is operating on a very thin margin. A team that took out another huge loan, probably to try to finance all these transfers that they have going on. But you're bearing yourself more and more in debt, and it will come to roost and come to hurt you at the end of the year when your financial statements, when your income statements come out, when your cash balance statements come out, when your cash flow statements come out, and Financial Fair Play and La Liga review this and they realize you're fucking broke a loan again. That's not going to be good. But on a football standpoint, it would be very great for a year or two period, because you are investing a ton of money in a guy that is already 30 years old, has had a torn ACL, has back problems. I brought this up in my Real Madrid videos. He already is getting back surgery. I don't know how bad of an injury that is, but that is all concerning. And it's very concerning on a financial standpoint for sure. And the only other thing I'll say football-wise is the pairing between Rodri and Pedri in the World Cup was a shit show. Your boy, the golden one, the chosen one, the best midfielder in the world, Pedri, got his ass sat on the bench because he just didn't work with Rodri. They're both very ball-dominant guys, and Pedri, that's the Mexican version of Pedri. But Pedri, the lord of double zeros, which, close your eyes, what do you see? The nothingness. 0 goals and 0 assists. That's what Pedri got you every game in the World Cup. He had no influence in the World Cup. He was straight ass. And the pairing between him and your boy, the new Catalonian fuck, Rodri, simply did not work. Now, will that pairing work in the future? Maybe they need more time playing together. Maybe they weren't used to playing with each other. That sounded a little weird, but who knows? That's the only part I could see being a disadvantaging on the football side. But how many miles are left on those legs? This is a decision for Barcelona that is very, very risky. I thought for Real Madrid it was kind of low risk because we're great financially. Go ahead, throw the money in the Rodri project. But for a team like Barcelona that is at a razor thin margin, that is on the edge of being, right back in there in financial fair play restrictions, it's a calculated risk. But what's been going on with this transfer is, and I have it listed here on this slide, we do have the best PowerPoints, bar none, when it comes to Real Madrid content. We are leading the way in PowerPoints. That might be old school, but if you look at a breakdown, Barcelona has submitted 3 different proposals, not 1, not 2, 3. That's a middle finger to you Catalonian boys, by the way. I talk a lot about Barcelona, but I hate you fucking all. That's for goddamn sure. But 3 different bids, and then the latest package that was just sent was valued at approximately 70 million euros, or 70 million looks like sterling, or 60 million sterling. So I've been hearing, or at least I've been seeing, Man City has valued the player at closer to 70 to 80 million euros, and they want that to be a key figure. Is they want it to be a fixed fee. They want it all up front. They don't want these package deals. This is what Barcelona does because they carry a lot of operational debt. Operational debt is a lot of money that's spent on your day-to-day, basically paying players, your upkeeping on the grounds, paying all your employees, and paying transfer fees. What Barcelona tends to do is they tend to carry out that they hold a lot of debt in that area. So they've been basically doing, instead of fixed payments for transfers, they've been paying it in increments for over a long period of time. They're still paying back on players that don't even play for the team anymore, including Fernand Torres and Lewandowski. They're still paying back on that because they hold about 450 million euros in operational debt. It's a madness. If you're comparing that to another team, Real Madrid only holds $8 million in operational debt because we have the financial backing to pay all our transfers up front, which we certainly probably could have done with Rodri as well. But I think a big thing is Barcelona is not wanting to pay that 70 to 80 million euros in a fixed fee up front. They tried opening up the bidding on a very measly, probably insulting offer around 45 million, which Man City quickly rejected. They had an improved second bid to 60 million plus conditional add-ons and bonuses, which was tabled. And then the third, and I guess this is the final proposal, we'll see, but reports detailed by outlets like ESPN, Barcelona advanced a final package of 70 million consisting of 60 million upfront and 10 million in achievable add-ons. So who knows if this deal will go through? I mean, I certainly think that there's a very, excuse me, ooh, man, I should have brought some water. I had a tickle in my throat because it's making me ill just thinking of Rodri in a goddamn Barcelona jersey. Holy shit. But this deal will more than likely go through. I mean, it's just a couple million separating them. Barcelona, you're already fucking on your way to being broke again. You might as well just fully make it happen. With Barcelona, I don't think it's a matter of if they go and back to financial fair play restrictions. This is the first time they've been able to do one-to-one spending in a minute. It's not if, it's just when it's going to happen. And I think if this deal goes through and then they somehow splooge a considerable amount of load or dollars off on on Mr. Julian Alverez, which I'll get in a minute, they certainly will be back in financial fair play hell. But it's unbelievable. There was an article that was listed, said the unbelievable overall package Barca reportedly have to pay a total of 210 million euros for Rodri. It's absolute madness. I'll just read this article real quickly because I find this stuff very fascinating. People have to understand that football is definitely played on the field, but it is an absolute business. This is how it works with signing these players, paying all your players. How you build a team is how well financially structured these teams are. And hats off to Barcelona for fielding some incredible teams having such poor financial fair play against them. You know, they built these teams straight from their academy. Hats off to them, but they are taking a considerable risk signing this older gentleman for this amount of money. And it says, to prize Rodri, I'll read it for you here on Real Madrid's 11th best YouTube channel. It says, to prize Rodri away from Manchester City and sign him, Barcelona apparently have to stretch themselves considerably. The overall package is said to amount to an unbelievable sum. According to calculations by the Spanish newspaper AS, signing the Spanish world and European champion would cost the Catalonians a hefty 210 million. The figure includes the transfer fee, agent commission, salary, and bonuses. The paper puts the transfer fee at 80 million, which according to matching media reports, Man City are said to be demanding at least for Rodri. I think that's what it's going to take to get across the line. Probably 80 million straight up, just fixed fee, no add-on bullshit, what Barcelona tends to try to get away with, which they're probably not going to get away with this deal or with Julian Alvarez. But the Sky Blues are also understood to have rejected Barcelona's most recent offer, said to be worth 64 million, Rodri's salary demands, meanwhile, would be at least 15 million net plus bonuses. If the 30-year-old signs a 4-year contract, which would be the standard in the industry, given his standing despite his advanced age, that would add more than 60 million. The report does not break down the remaining gap, which I have a different report, but it does say Barcelona is also courting Julian Alvarez's services, which is true, with Atletico Madrid said to be demanding 150 million euros for him. 150 million euros for Julian Alvarez. In this market, I agree 100% with that. If the likes of Anthony Gordon are going for 80 million, Jan Diamande, who's relatively unproven, is going for 100, and what do we pay for him? 125 million euros. What do you think Julian Alvarez is going on the open market? My God, 150 million euros? Anyways, it says Barcelona are still courting Julian Alvarez's services, with Atletico Madrid said to be demanding 150 million. That naturally raises questions how the club, which has been heavily in debt for years, can afford such spending. It's easy. They're going to take out more fucking loans. That's what they do. They're going to bury themselves more in debt, and it's going to affect them with their financial fair play. That's simple. That's just simple finances at the end of the day. So going back here, I will wrap this all up with where the other money is coming from in this. It says wage and taxes. This is crazy. Barcelona has discussed a 4-year contract with a net salary of 15 million per season. I think this is something that Real Madrid were simply very hesitant to get into bed with Rodri. I know that sounded a little suspect too. I'm doing that a lot this video, but I don't think Real Madrid wanted to pay the wages for this cat that's 30 years old already. He'd be one of the higher paid players on the team. And then it goes on to read, because of Catalonians' tax rates, the gross salary reaches about 34 million per year. Holy hell, I don't know what's going on in Catalonia. I personally have visited Madrid and Catalonia. I'd much rather live in Madrid. If the taxes are that high in Catalonia, holy hell. No wonder Barcelona has a hard time signing players. That's like double a salary per year in taxes, 34 million. Good God. But totaling roughly 136 million in wages alone. Factoring in the transfer fee, gross salary, agent commission, and the entire cost of the operation, it's projected to hit 210 million euros. That's a huge risk for Barcelona, who's already had financial problems. A huge risk to take for a player that's only going to give you probably 1 to 2 years of really good football left in those legs. I imagine by the time he's 33, he's going to be absolutely cooked. And really, at the end of the day, we'll get into this in a second. Is this really what Barcelona needs to win a Champions League? Yes, you will probably win La Liga, and you can rub it in Real Madrid faces. That would be quite a achievement, winning La Liga 3 times in a row. But in my opinion, Rodri is not going to get Barcelona a Champions League. Barcelona has other issues. What's going on with their defense? Do they have a left back? Did they even re-sign Cancelo? Who the hell is going to be their striker? Ferdinand Torres is having a hot girl summer, kissing on boys after the World Cup, making the zestiest pictures, freaking going on dates with Marco Llorente, and getting sold to PSG. Your striker, your only striker that was left, is now at PSG. Lewandowski went and is playing for the Chicago Fire, some crazy MLS team. So who the hell is going to play your striker? And that all leads to, probably your biggest need is a striker, and that whole leads to this Julian Alvarez fucking mess. My God, just the craziest shit. This transfer saga, I've been keeping close track of it, has been going on for months on months on months. Like the entire summer. When will it end? How will it end? Who the hell knows? The most recent thing that I read, and this is just like the messiest shit ever. I'll get into the most recent stuff that I've read, that I saw articles today. But essentially everyone in this deal hates each other. I mean, Atletico Madrid hates Barcelona. Julian Alvarez hates Atletico. Yeah, let me start that over. Atletico Madrid hates Barcelona for the way that Barcelona has been trying to scumbag their way into getting their prized possession, This is their prized item. There's not players that walk through the door that into Atletico Madrid that are as talented as Julian Alvarez. He is the prize jewel on their somewhat limited, janky-ass Timu crown in Atletico Madrid's history. And then you have freaking Julian Alvarez, who hates Atletico Madrid because simply he feels like he's in prison. And then you have Atletico Madrid, who's slighted because they have a contract with this young man for 6 years that he just signed 2 years ago. Everyone hates each other. The only people that like each other in this negotiation are Julian Alvarez and Barcelona, and they may not ever be able to be with each other. It's like a terrible romance movie. But anywho, the news that I saw, which is pretty messed up by Atletico Madrid, if you ask me, I'll post a picture. This is from a Barcelona source, so who knows how reputable this information is per se, but it says, according to sources closest to Julian Alvarez, Atletico Madrid were the ones who suggested the player speak out publicly about his future. What happens was Julian Alvarez privately informed the club in advance that he wanted to leave. Atletico Madrid then told him that if he really wanted to leave, he had to say so publicly so that fans would understand that decision to leave came from the player, not the club. After Julian Alvarez stated his position, Atletico's board were unhappy with what happened because they did not expect the player to actually take that step. And then they went back on their position. Julian's camp feels that Atletico Madrid lied to him and deceived to him, and that he was betrayed by the club's board. First off, if this is true, that's an absolute madness, and this is not setting a good precedent for Atletico Madrid in the future if you're going to treat your players like this. If you actually told this young man to speak out because that's how you were going to kind of appease your fans and make it kind of less hard on them for when your best player departs, shame on you guys for putting Julian Alvarez in a bad situation. That's an absolute madness. And maybe players will be less likely to want to play for that trash-ass team that's always going to be second best in Madrid and third best in La Liga. But at the end of the day, I'll get into who I think really should shoulder all the blame, and it's probably the player. But it's just unfortunate that this is just turning into the messiest of messiest situations. And if this is true, Atletico Madrid brought this completely on themselves. Why the hell would you tell the player to leave and then get upset when that's exactly what he went and did? So you really are, you kind of created this situation, and now you're having to live with it, and it's just turning into a complete and absolute utter nightmare for all sides. And the other news that was coming out this week, I can only be described as an absolute madness. If you look at it, there was other news that I saw. This is all going on this week, by the way, where I was sick, and as you might be able to tell, I'm still have a little bit of a cough from this cold that I had, but there was news that came out that Julian Alvarez said some crazy quote like, "Don't count on me, I'm not going to be there." And then Atletico Madrid promptly said, "You need to apologize for what you said." And then apparently there was maybe an apology that came out. And then I was reading something tonight that said Julian Alvarez has not apologized to anyone at Atleti and continues to want an exit from Atletico Madrid, considering his time at the club is over. So Julian Alvarez is standing his ground. He also did not tell his teammates that he regretted his statements. Could you imagine being a teammate with Julian Alvarez if he comes and plays for Atletico Madrid? He hates y'all. He wants to be with Barcelona. Could you imagine trying to be the main man on a team where you said you didn't want to play for him? That has to be incredibly tough on all parties involved, including the poor bastards that are left on Atletico Madrid that have to play with Julian Alvarez. And then you just see some of the craziest reports coming out from Barcelona fans or Barcelona sources. It says, after Rodri, so after they wrap up the Rodri deal, and I have a picture here, Barcelona will activate a military-style operation for Julian Alvarez. Deco's been cooking all summer. We've all seen those memes of Julian Alvarez and a Barcelona jersey. We've seen him with Rodri in a Barcelona jersey. Deco's absolutely been cooking, but none of these players are Barcelona players yet. Deco has promised the player that he will be rescued from Atletico Madrid, and Barca are willing to break the law to do it. So my next question is Deco gonna rappel in from a Apache helicopter and just with an M4 and just start capping Atletico Madrid's president and sporting director to rescue Julian Alvarez in some type of military operation? What the fuck am I reading online? This is an absolute madness. It's just the messiest, craziest transfer saga you will ever see. I've been watching football and these teams interact for a long time. I've been a Real Madrid fan probably since I was around 18, 19 years old, and I'm 39 now, so 20 odd years, maybe 22 years if you really want to stretch it. I've never seen the type of stuff with this transfer window between all clubs involved, all the prices going up and up and up, the considerable hate being spread between Atletico Madrid and Barcelona, what's being posted on social media, Rodri scumbagging Real Madrid. That's something you never see happen. A player wanting to go for Barcelona over Real Madrid. Just the craziest stuff this summer. But wrapping this all together, and I did mention this earlier, there's only one person to really blame for this whole situation, in my opinion, and that's the player himself. There was a perfect article that was written about this. Hats off to this author for putting some accountability on the player with this whole situation. There's organizations involved, a lot of money flowing and all that, and you could easily blame the organization. But at the end of the day, the title of this article is Julian Alvarez has no one to blame for Atletico Madrid's predicament but himself. The Argentine wants out of the Metropolitano just 2 years after he pledged his future to Atletico Madrid. And I'll just read this briefly because I think this perfectly sums up who's at fault with this whole situation. And before I read this, I don't want this to be a personal attack on Julian Alvarez, because I think Julian Alvarez is a classy dude, or I thought he was. I mean, he's certainly trying his damnest to get out of Barcelona. That's for goddamn sure. But Julian Alvarez is a class player, which is hard to say with a lot of Argentinians. The way that they acquitted themselves at the World Cup, the likes of Enzo Fernandez, the way he acquitted himself, kicking Cabarsi back to Catalonia, and even the GOAT himself, Lionel Messi, trying to get Cucurella a red card in the World Cup final. It's an absolute madness the way that Argentinians behave themselves, but you didn't really see a whole lot from Julian Alvarez. He generally seems like an okay dude, but there has to be some accountability at the end of the day for your actions, and I think this article summed it up perfectly, which I will read to you very briefly what it says. So let me go over this. This is written by Sports Illustrated, by the way. Good job on this. It says, Atletico Madrid forward Julian Alvarez met with manager Diego Simeone on Wednesday and reportedly insisted on a transfer, holding firm on his desire to leave the Spanish capital. Just 2 years into his contract with Atletico Madrid, Alvarez is desperate for a new destination. The Argentinian publicly requested a transfer during the 2026 World Cup, claiming the move would be best for everyone involved. Boy, was he wrong on that. Everyone hates each other now because of this move, but the desire came amid Barcelona's pursuit of Alvarez, who remains the club's dream replacement for the departed Lewandowski. The Catalonians already offered 100 million euros, which is 114 million American dollars, for the forward, but Atletico Madrid rejected the bid, reportedly claiming Alvarez is not for sale. A message sent to Real Madrid as well after their insincere 150 million offer for the 26-year-old was rejected. ESPN reported Alvarez is not giving up his case. The Argentinian international met with Simeone on Wednesday and once again conveyed his desire to leave Atletico. The manager understood the situation and remained approachable throughout, but reiterated that Alvarez is a key player for the team and the rest is up to the club. By the end of the discussion, Alvarez was resigned, though he still hopes for a change of heart from Atletico Madrid. And here's the big part. Alvarez hit with the consequences of his contract. Alvarez's public crusade to leave Atletico Madrid is rather ironic, considering a player himself agreed to, this is the key figure, 6-year deal with the club, only back in 2024. Let me get this. He also signed a contract of 500 million a contract with a 500 million release clause, 500 million euros, Securing a transfer would always be difficult with such a deal in place, especially one to Barcelona, a club constantly burdened by financial woes. That's true. Yet, Alvarez has dreamed up a scenario in which his club would allow him to break his contract, waltz right into their rivals, who happen to be the defending Spanish champions. Arsenal had reported interest in the forward as well, but the Gunners also appeared reluctant to lay down such a large fee to secure a player that scored only 20 goals in 49 appearances last season, just 8 which came in La Liga. Alvarez's stock wasn't helped by a lackluster World Cup campaign with Argentina. He netted only 1 goal in 8 appearances at the tournament, and the same amount of production the team got from center backs Lisandro Martinez and Christian Romero. Still, it's no secret Barcelona wants his signature, but according to ESPN's Atletico Madrid insists Alvarez will not be sold to the Catalonians. I think that is a perfectly written article. Hats off to you, the writer. I'm not a writer, never could be, but boy, was that well written. You have to live with your actions in life. If this was Julian Alvarez's dream all along to go play at Barcelona, my dude, you are a dumbass for signing that contract. I mean, holy shit, dude. Why would you sign a 6-year deal with Atletico Madrid? It could have been any club in the world, minus Real Madrid, who probably Atletico Madrid hate more than Barcelona. But it could have been any other club in the world you could have signed a contract with and maybe weaseled your way out with a move to Barcelona. But one, you signed a contract with a rival of Barcelona who is constantly, that rival is constantly treated like the redheaded stepchild in La Liga. They probably have little man syndrome. They have the third man out syndrome. They are constantly treated like shit. And they are putting up with themselves because you are a player that's on their team that you signed a considerable deal with. You are their crown jewel, for one. That it's a madness why you would even have done that. That is just, it blows my mind that you would have signed with Atletico Madrid of all teams. If it was your dream with Barcelona, why would you do that in the first place? And two, you just have to live with your actions in life sometimes. You can't just sign a deal and then just want out of it a year or two later. I mean, it's living in the land of make believe. You play a children's game at the end of the day. That is just facts. You have the best job in the world. You get to kick a ball. I feel bad for you that you are stuck at Atletico Madrid. But another big thing that which I'm wrapping my mind about around my thoughts is, if your dream was to move to a team with, if your dream was to move to Barcelona, you really picked the wrong horse to try to get into a bidding war to get out of your contract at Atletico Madrid, because Barcelona is one of the most broke teams on planet Earth. Their finances are in hell, and that $100 million bid that Barcelona did is kind of a joke. Barcelona, if you want your boy, you're going to have to pay the big bucks. It's going to have to be 150, 170 million euros, and I don't know how you could swing that financially. You probably have to take out another loan, and you certainly would go into financial fair play hell again and be capped, and you would lose money. I mean, you'd end up with a net negative profit per usual. I don't want to get too much more into the finances size. It just blows my mind. Everyone involved in this deal, and particularly the player himself, it's a madness. It would be like me with my current employer, who I have a contract. I have a 6-year contract with my current employer, which I'm actually, where am I at in my contract? I'm in year 4 of my 6-year contract with my employer. It would be like if I woke up one day and was like, oh, the dudes down the street just offered me a deal. I want out. I am going to leave. It doesn't work like that in most cases. In most cases, you're going to have to go to, a court or whatever to figure all that out, which that is probably his only option now. You would have to go to court and be like, I want out of my contract, my dude. We're going to have a legal fight about this. You're probably going to have to pay Atletico Madrid some money out of your pocket. I don't even know how the hell that would work, but I don't see this one going through unless Barcelona just throws a shit ton of money at Atletico Madrid to appease them. 150, 170 million euros. That will get you your dude. And Atletico Madrid is going to look like fools because they've been fighting tooth and nail with Barcelona. But that's all I have to say with this video, which is mostly a Barcelona roundup for the week, because I find what's going on with them far more interesting than what's going on with Real Madrid. We got all our dudes. I thought it was going to be Rodri. We're probably not signing any more players. Is it enough to beat Barcelona? Who knows? I think we will play better football this year, but Who knows if it will be enough to beat Barcelona. I don't know if it will be even enough to compete in the Champions League. I don't see either of these teams, Barcelona or Real Madrid, competing big time in the Champions League, with the likes of PSG and Bayern Munich still out there getting better each day. So we'll see what happens. We hopefully will make another video here soon. I'm still kind of recovering from this cold, but it is good to talk to y'all again. Much love to all my Real Madrid brethren. I feel bad for you, Julian Alvarez. If you're watching this, hang in there, my dude. But you will be stuck in Atletico prison for at least probably a few more seasons. And if you want to leave, maybe go to Arsenal. This is your boy, MadridistaFitz, signing out. I hope this was a good one for you Barcelona bums. Please like and subscribe if you like this content. This is not my primary job, but I do enjoy doing these videos. Let's help try to make this channel grow and hopefully bring in some more banter with more people. I say this all the time. Anyone in the chat, reach out to me. We will go on and we will talk Real Madrid and Barcelona together. That offer goes out to anyone out there on the entire planet. Y'all, God bless and have a good one. Your boy MadridistaFitz out. See ya. Bye.